Hello, everybody, and welcome to Survival from the Fall. And tonight we're just pretty much going through a summary of, well, episodes to come because there's definitely a lot going on in the world right now that's pretty negative and a little bit shaky. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. So, what I want to do is just roughly go through a few things I have, and I'm going to be having breakdowns of everything I do. I'm going to be having sections on my website that will explain the things that you're going to need for your bug out kit, what's best to have for your first aid kit, what type of lures are good to have, what kind of bait, things like that, fishing tackle. I'll go through it a little bit briefly with people, but it's probably best to see it on the site. Your selection is up to you. But what's really important is that you're able to get all these things before it really gets expensive. We all know inflation is really just our enemy right about now, and being able to do this and to be able to survive. Okay, you say, well, this guy's like, worried about if the end of the world happens. Well, no, I'm not necessarily worried about that. I'm kind of paying attention to, hey, what if like there's a war or a fire? There's a lot of people kicking in front doors and ripping people off. People are going to get desperate, and we really have a lot of problems that are causing this. I'm not going to go into the details because it's just not worth it. And what we need to do is prepare and to get this plan put together and to be able to continue building your plan. So I'd recommend getting a good notebook that you keep on top of the refrigerator, and you're going to continuously add to this. And I'd recommend for everybody in the family to be involved to add to this book of plans that are pretty much the critical source to everything you're going to need, because there's so many things that you need to live in this world without what we have. What happens when they turn this phone off, the internet off? I think everybody's pretty much going to panic, and it's going to really be a sad situation. And I just want everybody to realize that I'm here to give them a chance to be prepared, because you're going to need a bug out kit in your car. What a bug out kit is like, well, in case you're trapped somewhere and it's an emergency, you're covered pretty much all bases, or hopefully as many as possible. How to be safe in your home, how to have security without having to worry about guns. And I mean, I'll show you the ways to do it that are legal, totally legit, but absolutely, I guarantee is pretty much going to scare anybody off. Doesn't matter who they are. Um, I don't believe in violence or any of that stuff, but yes, to be able to protect yourself is absolutely critical. And yes, we're all going to have to protect ourselves. Coming ahead is going to be really unknown. So we're here right now in this point to where everything's still available that we're going to need. But there's things like books of plants and things that you're going to need to know what type of plants are edible. This is for all edible plants for where I live in my general area. There's books for, paracord is one thing that's really important. You can make anything with paracord, everything from nets to hammocks to you name it. And I will break down and show you that. This is about the Sierra Nevadas, but basically it's going to help me understand what I need to know about the dangers out there that I'm going to be facing, how to survive. This also has pretty much all the pictures I need for plant ID, insect ID, fishing, animals, how to protect yourself, how to survive, because food is going to be really a huge cost. This is another Foraging California book that's really important that you kind of get into. Basically, there's nothing more important than food when it comes to survival out in the cold. Of course, keeping warm and all that's really quite important also. And I'm gonna explain what type of clothing to buy, what's gonna keep you the warmest or the coolest, that won't stain, that won't be heavy on your body. I'm not a fan of cotton. I've always been a fan of polyester, so you always see me wearing nothing but. These are full on snowboarder pants, but I don't mind. I can wear these indoors and not get hot. It's 65, 68 in here. Um, what's really important is that you're prepared, and in your car, you're probably not want your survival part of the kit to be in your trunk when you might need it if somebody's trying to kidnap you, or if there's some problem or issue that arises where you might need something that's important like a laser. A laser can definitely be really great to point things out and get you out of a bad situation. Same thing with bear pepper spray. We don't like bears, but there's some things that are even scarier than bears, like a psychopath with a gun. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to hesitate, regardless of the outcome. There's a lot of lights out there that are really important, that the types of light, and that they do have the ability to get different, give you strobe, Morse code, which is really a good thing to have in case of emergency. Lights like these all charge on a USB cord, so you can charge them from a solar panel. I'm going to show all the different types, and even these power adapters that you'll get for your phone or any other thing. If your phone doesn't work, doesn't mean you can't use it, because there's a lot of things you can do with the phone to actually keep yourself safe and survive. It's all part of survival, and yes, we're all going to have a problem with that. I mean, people probably don't think about it, but the typical pair of binoculars, they don't have to be really great ones, but to have them, yes, you are going to absolutely have to have some binoculars, because you know what, I'll tell you what, yeah, I think about things like that. Also, you really don't need guns, because you know what, I don't think this is really scary. This steel ball here is, well, it's a projectile. It's coming out of a wrist rocket. Well, not only do these come in wrist rocket styles, but they also come in a crossbow or a major compound bow that'll send this little steel ball the same speed as a bullet, pretty much. So, yes, they're not just little toys for kids, and besides that, you also have the option to use lasers in a way that make people think twice, like, oh my gosh, if I see that on my chest, I'm probably going to panic and want to run and not be around that situation. So, yes, I will get into knife throwing, machete throwing, axe throwing, how to be able to use these crossbows, compound bows, your regular bow and arrow, because once you run out of arrows, you're able to make your own arrows. So I'm not saying that we're going to be trapped away from our homes for a long period, but if there is some sort of disaster that happens, who knows? It's better to be safe, have your bug out kit ready to roll. Recommend food container drums to put those in, or the type containers that you put on top of your car that are actually made out of fabric. They're easier to carry. They got straps. You can strap them down pretty much anywhere, and they're good to go. The food container types are great for the food. They're 50-gallon. They seal up, airtight, watertight. You can put a lot of food, a lot of everything you need in there to survive and keep yourself alive. And, well, that's important right about now. Simple things like flashlights. A lot of people don't realize how important a good flashlight is and how bright a real flashlight is. These are just critical to have high quality. This is also rechargeable. I don't like to use a lot of batteries, but this is also, you just unscrew it here, and it's going to have multiple inputs to charge it. USB, of course, being my number one choice, because you can do solar run off your car. As long as you have gas and everything is good to go. Rechargeable batteries are absolutely critical. You can get the types that do not need a charger. They have basically a cord that you just plug into a USB source, and there's your charger. So these are good for 1,000 uses, and that's pretty good. So I highly recommend spending the money. They're not cheap. They're about $30 for 4, and yes, that seems like quite a bit, but not for 1,000 uses. it's really important to have all these things, including a shortwave radio or an all world radio that's going to let you hear. Uh, Possibly the only thing you'll be able to hear are people in other countries or just people on CB radios. You could get a scanner so you could possibly hear police or hear what's going on citizen band. That's all I can do is give you the tools you're going to need to be able to protect yourself in this situation, and that's going to be making a plan, making A to Z plan. I'm not just talking a few. This is a lot of steps, but when it comes to survival, don't you want to be comfortable? You know, if I spend $500 on stuff and try to go out and survive in the woods, it's kind of going to be rough. And if I spend 5,000, well, I'm going to be really comfy. Well, depends on how you feel about it and where you're at in life. Me personally, I'd rather be comfortable, but yes, I could set you up. I can set your house up for security with camera retina ID cameras, motion detector cameras that I constantly have cameras on all the time because I can be looking out four windows at one time. Nah, I'd have to have a lot of mirrors, I guess, to do that. Shad that, I can look out 8 different directions all at one time, and that shows me anybody coming. But it also has these wonderful little record lights that contact my phone and let my phone know to text me that there's motion on that camera. So I have that turned off right now, and usually when I'm at home I don't have it turned on. But if I'm away from the house, it's kind of like having security. That way you can contact your neighbor. Hopefully you have a neighbor that's going to help you deal with this. And well, that's pretty important to have that and to be connected to that. So I will be showing you how to do that, how to connect all your cameras, how to set up a lighting system that is adequate for your home, because you can't just think it's all going to be working when the power goes out. Okay, I have there are power sources that are unlimited power sources that are large. They go up to 3,000, 4,000 watts nowadays, and you can bridge them together and run 6,000, 8,000 watts, run a whole house if you need be. What I'm trying to say is that something like that you can keep in your house at all times, charging at all times. The second the power goes off, I'm immediately plugged into my dish. Is the first thing I plug in because it takes a bit to get that kicked back on, but that's where I run my internet. So that also helps my phones work because I'm way up in the mountains. That's the only safe place to be. I hate to say it. Then I also have my lighting, all my outdoor lighting run through into the house, and I have them all put on plugs so that I can plug them all in. And I have it all connected to be able to plug into the generator outside, because this internal power source is only going to run me for maybe an hour to 2 hours. If it's a smaller one, I'm only 1,500 watts on mine because I got 2 generators that are brand new, and then I got 2 extra 7,500 watt generators, which are way more than anybody would ever need. I got about 20,000 watts in generator power, but I'm not going to rely on having that because I'm a hydroelectric type person. I do use solar a bit, but I will show inverters and everything we need for that. I have mentioned it before in previous episodes, and I will continue mentioning things over and over again because this is something that I can run through really fast, and you're only going to maintain a certain amount of this. You can re-watch the episode if you want, or you can just pick up a little bit as it goes along. I'm kind of the guy that, yeah, I've been on the streets. I've lived on the streets for up to 20 years, and I know what it's like to live off grid. I spent 7 years off grid, so, and that's by choice and by way of life. It is not a way of struggling in any way, shape, or form. It's a matter of knowing what you're doing, how to do it, and how to do it comfortably. So my off-road rig is my RV, which is a 6-wheel in the back, triple axle RV, one of a kind, special. Nobody call it really living homeless or living on the streets. So not everybody has that, so maybe you'll be stuck in your car. I'm going to cover you on all bases. We got really cool tents that are important to have, sleeping gear, sleeping bags, everything you have, gloves, everything. I'm telling you, when you get out there and you don't have enough socks, you're not going to be a happy camper. So You can think of it as a prolonged camping experience, or you can think of it as like, wow, I'm trying to survive out in the world when the rest of the world's gone crazy and there's no food left. And you know what? You could say, what if this doesn't happen? Well, right now I see inflation happen. I see 3 more years of possible increased inflation. So I see that food's going to be hard to find. It's going to be expensive. So me currently got a fishing license, so we're going to head out and we'll go fishing. And we're going to find out what's the best way to catch fish cheaply and expensively. You can spend a lot on gear, or you can spend a little on gear. You can raise your own worms, you can raise your own bait, and you can actually raise your own fish and have aquaponic farming that you don't need to go to another lake to raise fish. You can raise them at your own home. But I'm trying to say there's ways to deal with food, there's ways to deal with security, there's ways to deal with protection, there's ways to deal with when the power outages happen, when computers and all the phones go down. Hey, I can't help you with the mail or any of that. There's not going to really be a lot of communication, so you are going to want the radios that are really critical to understand what's going to be happening out there, how long things are going to happen for, how to connect with other people. And I would talk to some friends. I'd talk to your family. I'd talk to everybody, because this is really important that you know every part of this is absolutely critical to you and your family's survival. So let me say goodbye for this show, and I'll be following up with another show real soon, and I will specify each show exactly what I'm going to be getting into. These are more or less just summaries in the beginning to let you know what to look forward to in my shows to help you out in time of need. And believe me, there's a lot of need out there right now, and the more need there is, the more dangerous it is for us people to be able to survive in our world comfortably without the risk. Because just going to the store is dangerous. You drive a new car, it's dangerous. You wear jewelry, it's dangerous. You have anything nice, somebody wants it. Hey, you know how it is nowadays. People do anything to take whatever they want, and we're up against that. We're up against none of this is getting any better. We have who knows how many years to deal with the fall of what I would call a comfortable world, the world where we've always been able to deal with it. But when the lines are super long for stores, when you can't get any gas, when you have no power, when there's no phones working, it's going to get rough, folks. So tune into my website. I have a website up, and I have, Survival from the Fall website. I have, you'll find that channel on YouTube for all these videos, and you will absolutely be able to go on to Facebook and find me. We also have a website up, and the website's going to have a lot of details, and these are all important items, and I highly recommend. There's no time like now to prepare, because the prices are just going up. The people are getting crazier. It's getting rough out there. I personally wouldn't go out after dark, well, because there's a lot of bears and stuff like that out here. But yeah, there's things you're going to need to protect yourself with, and BB guns and things like that are actually going to be more important to have than actual rifles and guns and pistols and all that. And those are dangerous, and you don't want to be shooting guns back and forth. You want to be able to deal with it in other situations. Well, I'm going to show you a lot of really easy, simple other situations that are, well, they're going to keep you very protected. So, well, thank you for checking out the show. And until next time, take care, be safe, and good luck, and talk to you soon.